Welcome to OK Miniatures. So today I am going to be making supports for the modular mountain that I made. So currently, if I assemble it, it'll all kind of collapse because it's very unbalanced. There's a lot of overhanging pieces. So the goal is to make some stalactite sort of things for the cave side that I can place and support the higher pieces. These pieces that I made them all out of the same piece of styrofoam, and they are 2¼ inch tall, or at least pretty close to that. So I'm going to cut some strips that are 2¼ 4½, 6¾ and 9 inches tall, so that I get different levels. It would have been nice to have like a magnet system, so that instead of making all these different ones, I can have a top piece, a bottom piece, a middle piece maybe, and then they can be more modular. But I don't have magnets around me right now, and I'm not convinced that would actually be significantly better. So we're just going to go for it as is. Alright, so I got these pieces all chopped up. Now they're at the right heights now. I'm going to chop them into smaller pieces and then glue them into square-ish shapes so that I can carve them up into stalactites and stalagmites and columns, mainly columns. But I'll probably add a few stalactites and stalagmites on the sides later, or maybe just as part of like scattered terrain around. So I got these guys all glued up. I'm gonna give them a few minutes to dry just to make sure that they're extra good. I used hot glue, which isn't my favorite because it does tend to leave like a little bit of a gap, but I don't think it'll be too noticeable. We'll see. But while I wait for those ones to finish drying, I'm going to carve up the little single piecers into cave thing shapes. So we have some columns, stalactites, stalagmites. Just try to keep it a little bit mixed up, and I also kind of am wondering if I can use these as a little bit of a wall. So I'm going to have some of them with a whole bunch of columns close together. So it's still, you can still see through it, but it's sort of a wall. So we'll see how those look. Alright, so I got the cave pieces all carved up. I also covered them with Mod Podge mixed with black paint. I think they're looking pretty good. They do have a bit of angles on them since I was just kind of rough cutting them with the knife and some little sharp edges. I think that actually adds to them. I kind of like the look of it. The thing I don't like is, as I said before, there are some gaps from the hot glue. Now I probably could have avoided some of them by just pressing the pieces as I glued them, but it's not the end of the world to me. They are a little bit obvious, but there isn't any green showing through for the most part, except like on the top if you look straight on. So I'm alright with that. If I did this again, I would probably take some joint compound or something similar and fill in the gaps before I put Mod Podge on. But I am currently out and I haven't made another trip to the hardware store, so make do with that. But I think they look pretty good. So I'm going to paint them up with brown paint and then do a couple layers of dry brushing, and I think they should be pretty good. Alright, so I got the dry brushing done and I think they look pretty good, but one thing I noticed was compared to my mountain terrain, this was the original cave coloring. That's a very bright tan, and it doesn't really fit with these pieces, so I actually went through and added a thin layer of brown paint. I didn't do dry brushing or anything like that. I just got some paint on and just didn't do a complete covering coat. I think that looks significantly better than it did before, even without having these new pieces to compare it to. But I think they'll blend a lot better with this, and I might even need to go a little bit more brown, but I think this is a very good start. As for these guys, I could keep highlighting them up, but I think they look pretty good. I'm not really going for like a super well lit cave, so having just a little bit of highlighting and a little bit of varied highlighting looks good for what I'm going for. So just give me a minute here and I will get this all set up and we'll see how well it works for supporting these guys. And if you're finding this helpful so far, please hit the like button. I really appreciate it. So here it is. I do have a few extras, which I think will be handy for the future. And a lot of them aren't actually like structurally required. This one is, I think this one's not really. This one is, definitely. A couple of the short ones are, but a lot of these middling height ones I can take in and out, do whatever with. So I could actually put them around the cavern a little bit more. If I had raised platforms or something I wanted to add in here, I could use that for. There is also a bit of a lip on this ledge, so I'm thinking I can use some of the 3 high, tall guys to just put some different levels throughout here, which I think would be really cool. The paint job actually matches the adjusted cave walls better than I thought it would. I was thinking I might need to add another layer to this stuff, or maybe add some tans to these guys, and I think cans would actually like make the highlights pop a little bit better and I don't know, bring it to the next level, but they actually look really good just as is, especially with a little bit of light in here. I don't have much light shining in here right now, but if you have like a light just pointed right in, it looks really good. Yeah, so I'm really happy with how this turned out, and if you found this helpful, please hit the like button, consider subscribing, and with that, I'll see you in the future.